Hello. Property management regulations apply to the industry and vary depending on the portfolio of assets that an organization oversees. This presentation will focus on the applicable regulations that are centered first in the province of Ontario, leading into the specialized area of condominiums, and expanding nationally to how property management is regulated within the federal government where their properties owned and leased across the country. The private sector represents all properties that are outside of the various levels of government ownership, such as municipal, provincial, territorial, and federal lands. There are no mandatory controls on how properties are managed. As with all significant investments, professional management is typically sought by the investor owner to provide confidence that the property is maximizing financial returns and minimizing operating and maintenance costs, all while maintaining the integrity of the building and being compliant with legal, moral, and social obligations. The Ontario Property Managers Association provides education and developmental programs and initiatives and provides a means to regulate the ethical conduct of their members. The Real Estate Institute of Canada also provides education and development programs leading to a certified property manager designation. Non-compulsory membership in these organizations supports ethical conduct and regulates membership requirements. In Ontario, a property manager doesn't need to be licensed except for managing condominiums. Property managers are not experts in all areas of legislation and policy interpretation. However, they must be fully aware and knowledgeable about these issues that may impact the acquisition, ongoing use, and eventual disposal of real property. This list of 33 of the most relevant laws and regulations impact the management and ownership responsibilities of all properties, industrial, commercial, investment, and residential. Each can be easily accessed by searching the web by their title. Property managers are responsible for understanding how these regulations impact the operations before and after tax applications. Overseeing property project management, materials handling, building code compliance, heritage considerations, accessibility, information, data management, bylaws and building code requirements, to name just a few. Condominiums present significant challenge to owners and property managers, mostly because of the surge of development generating significant supply across the country. With strata ownership and the shared responsibility of common areas, there is a need to fund for future replacement of various assets within the property, such as parking garages, swimming pools, recreational facilities, as well as paying the ongoing day-to-day operations of the property. The province of Ontario has tabled legislation to regularize the management of condominiums. This is the only segment of the real estate properties where property managers are required to be licensed. The Condominium Management Regulatory Authority of Ontario is a not-for-profit organization that is accountable to the provincial ministry and is a regulatory body providing oversight of condominium property management. Governed by the Condominium Act of Ontario, there are three types of licenses. A limited license defines the lowest level of experience and one that requires supervision. The general license recognizes the senior manager's increased experience and one that has proven themselves through the completion of certain exams. The third license is a transitional general license where the intermediate manager has more than 2 years of experience. The Condominium Services Act that was tabled in 2015 sets out obligations and requirements for licensed managers. 16 key areas define the role for a property manager, and these can be accessed through the Condominium Management Regulatory Authority of Ontario at the website provided here. Property management within the federal government spans the requirements of all provinces and territories across Canada. Federal real property managers and staff require knowledge of the various considerations ranging from principles and logic of practical advice that are needed to deliver real property services within the federal government. The following 21 federal acts and regulations 15 Treasury Board policies, 6 directives, 10 TB publications, and 11 other directives all affect or inform activities related to the management of federal real property. Managers also have to be aware of and compliant with related Treasury Board policies in the areas of financial management, official languages, occupational health and safety. The primary focus is on government objectives such as security, health and safety, environmental protection, heritage conservation, accessibility, and Aboriginal matters that relate to the public interests that are broader than the departmental program objectives. As mentioned, the property management team is not expected to be fully versed in all the regulations listed. However, as you specialize in certain property types, it is incumbent to be aware of how to assist the landlord to be compliant. Examples of applicable applications are knowing that certain companies will have requirements under the Income Tax Act that match with their fiscal year end and not the calendar year. Others may be focused on operational health and safety of their employees and other sub-trades that are doing work on the property. Although there is likely a project manager assigned for larger initiatives, the property manager needs to understand zoning, building codes, contracting, and procurement regulations with enough understanding to ask legitimate questions that protect the landlord. Regardless of your portfolio mix, the team is responsible for installing confidence in our owner, investor, landlords, and their tenants and guests that the facility is in a state of readiness to meet their business needs. Whether it is an industrial plant manufacturing products, a research laboratory, government office, retail, or warehousing, the team relies on a building management plan that is underpinned by the legislation, regulations, and directives that guide how we manage the day-to-day operations. Here are a few resources that were used for this presentation. Please take the time to review them, as well as having a read of some of the acts, regulations, and policies mentioned earlier. The complexity of property management and the related responsibilities is no light task. If you and the team have any questions or want to pursue process mapping these regulations to functional areas that support key performance indicators, please contact me. Thank you for your time, and I trust you enjoyed the presentation. Bye for now.